Welcome to the breakfast show on Faith FM with Skafy and friends. This is the best place to start your day with positive and uplifting thoughts. You're listening across Australia on 87.6, 87.8 or 88 depending on where you are. You can also check us out through the Faith FM app, which you can download for free. Today, if you are listening live, is Thursday, the 22nd of January. And I am in the studio today with Lindsay here, co-hosting the program with me. Good morning to you, Lindsay.
Good morning, Skafy.
Great to have you here. And we have Letitia and Shell on the production desk. Good morning to you, ladies.
Good morning.
Nice to have you. And today is, I have a reason to celebrate today. Today is a very interesting day.
Why is that?
Today is the National Day of celebration of the celebration of life. In particular, celebrating children.
Oh,
yes,
okay.
Children and grandchildren, these little tiny humans that we all have in our lives in one way or the other. They're growing so fast and learning lots. And the way to celebrate these days by spending quality time with a child in your life today.
Okay, cool.
So you can, maybe build a puzzle together or build something, play, read a book to them, maybe bake some cookies. Whatever you do, spend some good quality time with the children in your life today. It could be a nephew, could be a son, a daughter, a grandchild, someone else's friends, a friend, the child of a friend.
Yeah.
But today is all about celebrating the life of children.
Oh, that's so sweet.
Do you have children in your life at the moment, Lindsay, in your family, or perhaps friends, children of friends?
Yeah, I'm actually good friends with Shell's son, and he's got a couple of kids, so I get to hang out with those.
Yeah.
Shell's grandkids a whole bunch.
Okay.
So, yeah.
That's very special.
Yeah.
What about you? What are you grateful for today?
What am I grateful for today? I am grateful for, actually, Shell's daughter-in-law, who dropped off 2 big boxes of free fruit and veggies to me a couple of days ago. So I've spent the last couple of days cooking just to process all of this fruit and veggies. I mean, my fridge was completely empty coming back from a couple of weeks at summer camp. So it came at a really good time and I actually dropped some off to them yesterday.
Did you cook anything yummy?
Oh, so much yummy stuff. Actually, I brought some in for breakfast today. Just a very hearty Moroccan-style veggie rice risotto type of thing that I kind of concocted myself. So I love cooking. I like coming up with new creations. So that's a good time.
That sounds really, really yummy.
Yeah.
Very good, Lindsay. Thank you so much. What about you, radio friend? Do you have plans? How do you enjoy spending time with the children in your life? For one, I love reading books with my kids. I enjoy building Legos with them. I enjoy just taking them for a bike ride, just spending some time in nature. Give us some ideas. What can people do today to celebrate the children in their lives? 0491 064 669. You can send in your suggestions to us here, and we are going to read them on air. And in today's show, Lindsay, we are going to be looking at the stories that clothes in the Bible tell us.
Clothes in the Bible?
Yes. Did you know that clothes tell us stories?
Oh,
in the Bible? We're going to look into that. We are also going to be talking about a sailor that won around the around the world race while having cancer.
Yeah.
So that's going to be a very inspirational story. And we are also going to be talking about weapons of mass distractions.
Mass distractions.
You heard
that was
right.
a plot twist.
Weapons of mass distractions, what are they? You are going to find out later today in the show.
You're listening to the Breakfast Show podcast on Faith FM. Positively different.
We are now going to announce our first quiz question of the program. Producer Tish will give us a fresh question. And please try to play along with us, radio friend, 0491 064 669. That is the number to text. Lindsay said that she is ready. I can see here that she has a bottle with ginger water. The good thing is that it looks like she hasn't touched it yet.
Oh, no. All right.
So
I'll
that
let you
means
have this
that
one.
we are on a plain, level ground here. Producer Tish, please, what is question number 1?
All right, let's test the theory. According to Leviticus, in what year was a field's fruit considered holy to the Lord? According to Leviticus, in what year was a field's fruit considered holy to the Lord? Let's see. Oh, correct answer. We got one correct answer so far. 0491064669. According to Leviticus, in what year was a field's fruit considered holy to the Lord? Please let us know.
I didn't even need the ginger water for that one.
Lindsay's on it
Look,
today.
there are two
On it
passages
today.
here that talk about that. I do not know exactly which one you were talking about.
Let's
so
see.
let's see.
Let's see what we have. No. Not quite.
I would say though, I would contend that this is also a correct answer though, for different reasons. Probably the one that you're looking after is this one. No.
No.
Oh,
No.
Okay. So
No.
okay.
There's a few different passages we could get this from,
Yes.
but if you think you know, please let us know on 0491064669. According to Leviticus, in what year was a field's fruit considered holy to the Lord?
Okay. Very good. Yeah, I want to know what's the official answer, and I'll tell you why I gave my answer as well, my rationale. I think it will be an interesting one. Very good. Well, let's move on then to our Bible study. Yesterday, we were looking at Joseph being taken off to Egypt in a caravan of Ishmaelites, and God putting a massive big sign behind saying God is at work. So what we're going to do today, we're going to go to the book of Genesis. We're going to skip one chapter
Why?
because chapter 38 is the story of Judah and Tamar.
But it's so relevant.
It is an amazing story, but we're going to skip that one and we're going to jump into chapter 39 so we can follow the Joseph narrative here, the Joseph story.
All right.
All right, so we are going to be reading chapter 39, verse 1, and we are going to be looking at a very interesting theme in the book of Genesis, and that theme is clothing. Clothing play a very important role in Bible stories, and we're going to see that in Joseph's story, it is also going to play, has already been playing a role with his multicolored, long-sleeve robes, but also there's going to be another story involving clothes here. So please, Lindsay, why don't you start reading for us from verse 1?
Sure. Genesis 39, verse 1. Now Joseph had been taken down to Egypt, and Potiphar, an officer of Pharaoh, captain of the guard, an Egyptian, bought him from the Ishmaelites who had taken him down there. The Lord was with Joseph, and he was a successful man, and he was in the house of his master, the Egyptian. And his master saw that the Lord was with him, and that the Lord made all he did to prosper in his hand.
Yeah, let's just pause here for a second here. There is one passage that will appear a few times in the narratives of Joseph, because we are asking here, where is God in the story of Joseph? Where is God? Joseph was a boy of excellent characters, the favorite of his house. Where is God? Because now everything seems to not work out for Joseph. But then chapter 39, the Bible tells us, hey, where's the Lord? The Lord was with Joseph.
Yeah. Like I'm seeing, and I've underlined this in my Bible in the past, that it says repeatedly that he was successful, that he found favor, that he was blessed, that he prospered. This keeps coming up throughout this chapter over and over again.
Yes. Look, that story, that phrase, that expression, the Lord was with Joseph. I have a bit of a funny story to tell. My son, he's 5 years old, and sometimes we like to play a board game or something like that, or we can play like a little sports activity together. He likes to play handball, the one that you have like the 4 squares in the floor. And sometimes, particularly because he's tiny and young, he loses, or he's not doing that well in these games that we are playing. And every time every time that he is losing, he says, "That's all right. At least God is with me."
Aww.
So I think this is the attitude of Joseph from the Bible as well. Because sometimes we might look at, hey, where is God while I am struggling here? Where is God where my life is falling apart? And if we could go and zoom back and read the Bible, we can see the Lord is with you. The Lord is with you during your trials, during your difficulties here. And God is able to transform that messy situation into something big. If there's one theme in the book of Genesis, it's that theme that God is able to bring out blessings out of human mess.
Yeah. Definitely.
And the question is, okay, if you recognize that God is with you, like, are you with God as well?
Interesting.
That is the question, because God is with you, but we can choose to be with God or we can choose not to be, for example, by grumbling and complaining.
Yeah.
When we're grumbling and complaining, what we are ultimately saying is not we're saying that this situation is difficult, this situation is hard, or life is so unfair. Ultimately, when you come to think of it, this is why the Bible advises Christians never to grumble, never to complain, because every time that we are grumbling against the situation of our life, what we're saying is that God's plan is bad, or God is not here. Ultimately, we're shifting the blame onto God, and saying, "Hey, you know what? I'm not grateful for the lot that God has given me." That's what grumbling truly is about. Now, if you ask 99 out of 100 Christians, and you ask him, "Hey, do you think that God is good to you all the time?" Yes, I believe. So why are you grumbling? Why are you complaining on the very situations that God has placed in your life, so that somehow through that mess, His name can shine through you? So that's just so the Lord was with Joseph. We're
Yeah.
going to see this Bible passage here being repeated again and again in the story of Joseph. So he was in the house of his master, his Potiphar. God was blessing him. He was successful. He enjoyed the what's the word that I am looking for here? The goodwill of his master.
Yeah.
His master liked him. He was great. So
His master was a guy who was very high up in government. Like, he was the captain of the guard. He was in charge of
it's kind of like the general, like top
of the
general.
security
Yeah.
for the Pharaoh. And so for Joseph to be working in this guy's household, he probably would have been exposed to a very, I guess, high level of etiquette amongst Egyptian society. And, you know, as he becomes higher and higher in the ranks amongst the slaves of this man, he probably would have had to learn a lot of things that would come into play later on in his time in government.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it was actually very providential that God placed him in that man's household for a time of training, of managing a household before he ends up managing the whole country down the track. And in a very, important household where he'd have to learn a lot of the etiquette of the place, because Egypt was very, very strong on etiquette. Like, think continental etiquette rules, but like times 100. So,
Okay.
yeah.
Yeah. Look, absolutely. I think that's such a good point. And being the captain of the God, I think he would be expecting and be used to the highest possible standards about everything.
Yeah.
And for Joseph to stand out in that man's eyes, not only to stand out, because he didn't just saw that, hey, this is a blessed man. The Bible says here in verse 3 that his master saw that the Lord was with him, and how the Lord has caused all that he did to prosper in his hand. Joseph somehow witnessed to his master, and he gave all the credit to God, to Yahweh, so that this master knew, oh, look, I can see that Yahweh, your God, is really, really blessing you, and really making you to stand out from everyone else that serves me.
Yeah.
So let's read verse 4.
Verse 4 says, "So Joseph found favor in his sight and served him. Then he made him overseer of his house, and all that he had he put under his authority." So he's rising in the ranks here. "So it was from the time that he had made him overseer of his house and all that he had, that the Lord blessed the Egyptian's house for Joseph's sake. And the blessing of the Lord was on all that he had in the house and in the field."
Wow, this is just a beautiful thing, right? It got my attention here. The Lord blessed the Egyptian's house for Joseph's sake. So when you and when we are trusting and relying on God, God starts to bless people around us.
Yeah.
Not for anything that they have done in particular, but for our sake. Isn't that amazing how
So
God's
beautiful.
blessings spill over?
Yeah.
So
That's
there
so
is a
good.
protective effect.
Of this favor from God.
Yeah, favor from God, from us. God says, hey, you know what, Lindsay, I'm not only going to bless you because you're trusting in me, but I'm sure going to bless people around you.
Yeah.
And I'm wondering if people will recognize that they are being blessed because you are part of their life.
That's such a cool thought. Like, are you a Christian listener that people around you know that there is a good God because of the blessings in their lives from being associated with you, from the blessing that God has on your life that is overflowing to them? What a cool thought.
Yeah, it is a cool thought, isn't
Yeah.
it? And this is definitely not the only passage in the Bible that talks about it, but certainly it is one of them. Well, let's read then verse 6.
Verse 6 says, "Thus he left all that he had in Joseph's hand, and he did not know what he had except for the bread which he ate."
Yeah.
Like, I know I have I own the food in front of me. Everything else I see, maybe
Like
I own it, maybe
Joseph
I don't.
is looking after it.
I don't know what I've got. It's just all there for me for the taking, I guess.
I'll tell you something interesting here, Lindsay. I once saw this little study, this informal study that this person made. And this person wanted to know what is the difference in lifestyle if you are... if you have $10 million, $100 million, or $1 billion.
What's the difference?
One of the difference, like, if you have like $10 million, for example, compared to just having like, let's say $1 million in liquidity, like the $10 million, like managing your assets starts to become more like a full-time job.
Sure.
By the time that you get to $100 million, you have hired a full staff of team. Sometimes I have like 50 plus people working for you. You have like the driver, tutors for the children, you have cooks, you have multiple houses, and you have teams in multiple houses to manage multiple houses. I believe that by the time that you reach $100 million in liquidity, one of the interesting things that says that bills do not come to you.
No.
You don't know what a bill is.
Yeah. You've got somebody else handling it.
Everybody else is handling all of these other, things of life. You have people watching that for you.
Yeah.
And that is the lifestyle of Potiphar here. So Potiphar would be today's equivalent of a multi-millionaire.
Yeah.
That he says, look, the only thing that I know that I look after is just the bread that I eat. And the only reason why he knew that the bread that he ate is because he could not allow Joseph to be in charge of his bread because of one of the many Egyptian etiquettes rules, which is Hebrews were not allowed to touch food for them.
Okay.
Because they were, Hebrews in general, they were herdsmen, and herdsmen were considered to be unclean.
Sure.
And therefore, it was very shameful for a Hebrew to be touching your food. It became unclean in their eyes.
I mean, I would imagine Potiphar's cook would have just delivered it to him, so he wouldn't have been touching it anyway. So
yeah, but he needed to make sure that what was his food, or that's one explanation that the Bible gives us, not directly to explain that passage, but to explain, for example, the reason why when Jacob and his sons moved to Egypt, they gave them a special land because the office of a shepherd was an abomination to the Egyptians, and they didn't want to have anything to do with that.
Yeah. They were very fastidiously clean, and a shepherd is not fastidiously clean by his occupation.
That's right. Or it could be that Potiphar was just, very concerned with his own diet, so he took credit of that. We don't know exactly, but basically Joseph Potiphar trusted in Joseph with everything, 100%. He earned his respect.
You're listening to the Breakfast Show podcast on Faith FM. Positively different.
We're going to get the answer to the quiz question here from Letitia, and let's see what the official answer was.
Okay, the answer to the question in Leviticus, what year was a field's fruit considered holy to the Lord? The answer was in the 4th year.
Oh, the 4th year.
And that one can be found in Leviticus 19, verses 23 and 24.
That's right. How did you know about that one, Lindsay?
Because I don't skip reading Leviticus for my devotionals. I love Leviticus, weirdly.
Yes. I said the 3rd year, but I was just confused in my mind because I remember that passage, but I thought, was it the 3rd year or the 4th year? It's like, I think it's the 3rd year. Actually, what the passage says is that you shall count the fruit of the tree as uncircumcised for the first 3 years. So for 3 years, it should not be eaten. That's why I kind of imagine that this is maybe meant to be holy to the Lord. But actually, on the 4th year, all fruit shall be holy to God. And then on the 5th year, people could actually eat from the fruit
So coming from the perspective of somebody who likes gardening, and like one day I hope to have my own land and have my own fruit trees and all these kind of things, like when I read the Bible and I see something that is applicable to the way I will practically live my life, it kind of just like locks away my memory. So for me, I'm like, okay, it would make sense that God would make this rule so that a tree would have enough years for the roots to go deep before you start harvesting fruit and taking the fruit from it. So it's just important to allow the tree to mature enough before you start taking fruit.
That's
off
right.
of it.
Like some people that I've met that were into agriculture, they say that, this is actually a fact, that the fruit, the tree uses a lot of energy to produce the fruit. So when in the first 3 years, if you do not allow it to remove the fruit, because sometimes we plant a tree, 1-year-old lemon tree, it's like, look, it's giving lemons. But what the Bible says, like, no, actually, don't let them give the lemons. Circumcise them, cut them. This is what circumcision means.
Sure.
Cut the flowers when they are starting to be produced, so that the tree can actually use this energy instead of producing flowers and fruits, which take a lot of energy, to grow down the roots
Even
and
deeper.
the stem. And you do this for the first 3 years. So only allow the fruits to bear fruit from the year 4 onwards. It's kind of like someone actually made this application. It's kind of like we don't let our teenage kids to have children, at the age of 13 or 14, even though their bodies is well capable of. They haven't yet developed enough to have the maturity to bear children. And it's kind of the same principle applies to fruit trees.
Sure.
So you wait until the 4th year. So there you go. It's an agricultural principle that is like 4,000 years old. But 4,000 or 6,000?
Yeah.
6,000 years old.
No, at this
and
point.
it's still backed up by today's current, the most up-to-date knowledge of planting.
Yeah, awesome.
Yeah, very good. Let's go to the next quiz question. So, Tish.
Okay, our next question is, Mary Magdalene saw 2 angels in white at the tomb of Jesus. Where were they sitting? If you know, 0491 064 669. Mary Magdalene saw 2 angels in white at the tomb of Jesus. Where were they sitting? It's a bit of a difficult one. Okay, we have no, not a correct answer yet. Do we have one? Yeah, we've got half of a correct answer here at the studio. Once again, Mary Magdalene saw 2 angels in white at the tomb of Jesus, but where were they sitting?
Okay, if you do know the answer to that one, 0491 064 669 is the number to text. I thought I had this one, but I obviously did not. So I'm keen to hear the answer to that one quiz question. Let's get back into the story of Joseph. And by the way, if you are enjoying learning more about the stories of the Old Testament, particularly the stories in the book of Genesis, we have a great offer to you. We have a book called Patriarchs and Prophets, which is an absolute masterpiece. It's a classic on the book of Genesis. It's a commentary on the book of Genesis, but not any kind of commentary. It's a narrative commentary, meaning that it will open up the Bible with you, take you by their hand, look at pretty much verse by verse, like chapter by chapter, scene by scene, in every story, and it will help you to understand what is the cultural background, what is the context, how does this passage relate to other passages in the scriptures, and also make some spiritual, practical applications to your own life. I have read this book myself a few times over, and every time that I read, I'm so glad that I do, because I enjoy it so much, I learned so much, and we are giving a copy of that book for you for free. It's an electronic copy. And if you send us a message here to 0491 064 669, we can send you that ebook, or you can also be able to you will be also able to download an audiobook for that book. So you can download it to your phone, you can listen.
I love the
wherever
audiobook
you are.
versions.
Yeah, I like the audiobook version as well, professionally narrated. It's not one of these AI voices that look like you're reading from a robot. It's an actual human voice, which is getting rarer and rarer these days.
A little bit, yeah.
Yes. Very good. Let's keep going then with our Bible study here, Lindsay.
Radio.
So we were seeing here that so far, God has brought some blessings into Joseph's heart, into Joseph's life, in spite of his misadventures. Let's see what happened here in verse 6.
Verse 6.
Oh, sorry.
So
Yeah, verse
we-
6, particularly that
that
last phrase.
little bit. So not only is he blessed, he's successful, he's found favor in the sight of his master, and God has just blessed him so much, but God has also blessed him with one more thing. And it says, now Joseph was handsome in form and appearance.
Indeed.
What a blessing, right?
Let's keep reading.
Right?
Yes. well, we'll see.
And it came to pass after these things that his master's wife cast longing eyes on Joseph, and she said, lie with me.
Yeah, let's just pause here.
Yeah.
Potiphar's wife, I believe she was feeling needy. And she was admiring of Joseph. Like, Joseph was handsome. God blessed all that he did. And there's one thing as well. Joseph, I believe, this is my interpretation here, he would spend a lot of time in the house managing things, while Potiphar probably was a very busy man.
Off at work, in
Off
the
at
courts, probably in a different city.
That's right. And the wife staying at home, decided to look at Joseph, and she started to entertain certain thoughts. And she started to say, you know what, maybe she was just justifying in her heart, well, my husband is never home. My husband doesn't have time for me. Joseph, on the other hand, he's so handsome. He's so successful. He's so solicit. Everything that I ask, he does. And she started to confound things.
Yeah.
Actually, this is a point here. There is a thing that is called the Billy Graham rule,
Sure.
which some people take it, in different degrees. But basically what it says is, for Christians that are particularly men that are studying the Bible with, women, be aware of that. Be aware that sometimes that woman can start, developing feelings, because we never know what's going on in the life of people, and they looking at, someone that is spiritual, that is offering Bible studies, that is this is that, and then they start, confounding things. So it is the Billy Graham rule says, look, if you're going to never spend time alone with another, particularly if you're a married man, with another woman that it's not your wife. So I always bring someone with you. Bring a friend, bring your own wife if she can, or bring a friend. Or, worst case scenario, go to a public place.
Yeah.
So that situations like the ones that are happening with Joseph in today's story don't happen. And we don't give a bad witnessing to God. Because, look, people can confound things. That's the fact.
Yeah.
So let's keep reading here. Let's see what Potiphar's wife is going to do. She actually said to Joseph, she was very upfront actually, and she said, "Look,
She was
lie
aggressive.
with me." She get straight to the point. She was not trying to
Beat around the
sugarcoat the
bush.
pill. She
No.
just says, "Look, this is what I want. This is an order."
Yeah, it does come across as very imperative,
Yeah.
the way it's written here.
Yeah, this is an order, Joseph.
You're my slave.
You're my slave. You have to do what I say.
Oh,
This is what I want. And Joseph could say, finally, my luck is turning towards me. Finally, God is giving me something. But he didn't, because he knew that this was not from God.
Yeah.
Let's see what happens here, verse 8.
But he refused and said to his master's wife, look, my master does not know what is with me in the house, and he has committed all that he has to my hand. There is no one greater in this house than I, nor has he kept back anything from me but you, because you are his wife. How then can I do this great wickedness and sin against God?
Yeah.
So it was, as she spoke to Joseph day by day, that he did not heed her to lie with her or to be with her.
Wow. So this is not just like a one-off. Joseph, I think, was pretty good in setting boundaries.
Yeah, but she was badgering
And he
him.
says, lady, my master did not give you to me because obviously you are his wife. How could I commit this great sin? And I love how Joseph says, instead of saying, how can I commit this great sin and evil against your husband? Or he could have said, how can I commit this great evil and sin against myself or against you? He says, against God. And I think this is a very healthy perspective of Joseph, because every sin that we've done, every time that we do anything wrong by someone else, we are ultimately sinning against God.
Yeah.
And it's not very hard to think. Like, if someone does something wrong by my children, well, they're automatically doing something wrong by me, because guess what? I am going to suffer on their behalf.
Yeah. It's interesting, though, that this argument didn't really seem to get through to her. Like,
No.
she is an Egyptian woman who worships Egyptian pantheon of gods that don't really require any moral behavior. They just require worship, you know,
Yes, some
celebrating
rituals
on
and
feast days
practices.
and
Yeah.
the very intricate rules around the afterlife and all those types of things, but nothing about day-to-day morality.
Yeah. That's so true, Lindsay. Let me just tell you this. This mentality, this Egyptian mentality, is actually alive and well today. I have heard
Yeah.
it so many times. Like, oh, God doesn't really care what happened between two people in between four walls.
Yeah.
Oh, God is too busy. Oh, God is running the universe. What makes you think that He's interested in your small, tiny life? So even for people that do believe that there might be a God, there's like powerful being, or something
He's so far
higher than
removed.
yourself. He's far removed. And that was the absolute overview in the worldview of the Egyptians, the Babylonians. They say, hey, yes, look, we believe, we worship the gods. We totally believe that they are, but hey, they don't really dwell with us. They don't really care with us. They can't really interact with us. It's something completely far removed.
Yeah.
On the other hand, the Hebrew said, no, God is actually, He cares for everything. Like, God is actually looking at my life, at everyone's life. He's omniscient. God is not restrained for that. So, and God is a God that I have a relationship with. How can I do this with Him?
Yeah. It's interesting that in this time in Egypt during this story, like, if there is no moral requirements from the gods, then how do you think they were like measuring justice in day-to-day life? Like, people could just do whatever they wanted.
Kind of.
And if the Pharaoh loved something, he would approve of it. If the Pharaoh hated it, he would disannul it, right?
Yeah. The human traditions would be the rule to follow.
Yeah, traditions, but also just if it came to like divorce. So if Pharaoh's wife, if Potiphar's wife wanted to divorce Potiphar and marry Joseph, she could do that, so long as she just said the right thing to Pharaoh, and poor Potiphar would just be left out in the dust by himself, right? So it's very selfish, a very selfish way of living in that time, and that's what she would have been thinking, right? Like, doesn't matter, like, Potiphar's gonna get the short end of the stick, but everyone else is gonna be happy. Like, she was just living in a very selfish world according to the ways that everyone was living at that time.
Interesting.
Yeah. So
Yeah. I don't know about like the rules for her to divorce her husband and then
I've
run
looked
away
into
with
this.
a slave.
It was a fairly common enough practice that she would have.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay. Very interesting.
Yeah.
All right. So let's see what she says. So she's really
Aggressive.
and she's speaking to him like day after day after day after day. She just didn't care. Mm-hmm. She was just nagging him nonstop. Let's see verse 11.
Okay, verse 11. But it happened about this time when Joseph went into the house to do his work, and none of the men of the house were inside, that she caught him by his garment, saying, "Lie with me." But he left his garment in her hand and fled and ran outside.
Right. So she was waiting for the right opportunity.
Pounced on him.
Yes. And then she called the men of the household and said, "See, he has brought in a Hebrew to us to make sport of us. He came in to me to lie with me, and I screamed." So we don't know if it was a setup, but she was, or if it was just a coincidence. But what the impression that we have is that before, what was stopping her from doing what she was doing was there were witnesses. This time, no witnesses. That's why she pounced on him, and she took his garments out. And then Joseph, what did he do? He fled. He left. And this is the story that I wanted to share with you. You know, garments in the Bible that tell a story to us. You see in the Garden of Eden, for example, we see garments made of fig leaves to hide our shame. That didn't work. We see Jacob wearing the garments of his brother Esau to deceive. That didn't work. We see Joseph receiving special garments from his father of authority. That didn't work. And now Joseph's garments are being stripped away from him. And Joseph fled, but he fled with his dignity. Because garments in the Bible, they represent a role, your function, your status. And Joseph, even though he lost his garment, he kept his dignity because he was ultimately covered with the righteousness of Jesus, which is the garment that we are to wear.
You're listening to the Breakfast Show podcast on Faith FM. Positively different.
We are moving on from the story of Joseph now. So these garments in the Bible tell a story. It is very interesting. I think that a similar cultural element, Lindsay, in our society is like we talk about masks.
Okay.
You know, people wearing masks. You wear masks to work, you're wearing masks this, and then when you remove your mask, that means being vulnerable.
Sure.
Well, during the Bible times, the equivalent to masks were your clothing. Your clothing were going to tell something about your status, about your standing. But, you know, we actually find out what kind of character Joseph has, not when he was wearing his long sleeve, multicolored tunic, but we know of his character when he's actually stripped off his clothing, when he's stripped off his mask.
Yeah.
That's when we know about him.
Yeah.
And Joseph... one of the things that I love about that story is that Joseph was not so concerned with his reputation.
Okay.
He was more concerned about what God thought of him first. Like, reputation is an important thing. The Bible says that having a good name is more worthy than silver and gold.
Yeah.
But sometimes Satan will set up traps for us in such that people will start questioning our reputation even though we are walking after the ways of God. And our reputation should never be an idol. And it wasn't for Joseph. Joseph could say, you know, if I lay down with her, then my reputation will stay intact. She won't say anything because if she said something, she would be put to death as well by adultery. So I might just kind of keep the veneer of things. But said, you know what, I would rather go to jail or even lose my life than to sin against God. And that's how we can see that Joseph was a man of an excellent character. He did not make his reputation his idol. He trusted in God with his reputation. And to me, that was one of the most powerful points of that story.
Okay. I think we need a quiz answer
Let's
now.
get a quiz answer, please, Tish.
Yes, we do. So the question was, Mary Magdalene saw two angels in white at the tomb of Jesus. Where were they sitting? To which the answer was, sitting where the body of Jesus had laid.
Okay.
At one at the head and one at the feet. And that can be found at John 20, verse 12.
Well, thank you very much
Very
for
good.
that. Yes, I sat on the top of the stone. For some reason, I had that image in my mind. I do not know why.
Yeah.
But I had it, yes.
Thanks for being a part of the Faith FM family. Join our community on Facebook or get in touch at 1-800-FAITH-FM.